All right, my name is Mary Cole. This is day two of creativity and productivity tips for writers. I am hanging out at home. You might be too. So I thought we could talk a little bit more about things that you can do to maximize your productivity, your creativity in this strange time. This will be a quick tip. This is something that I've started doing recently. I have been kind of on a kick, a little health, wellness, creativity and productivity, health and wellness. I haven't started running marathons or anything, but I have started to figure out ways to be better at what I do and also more efficient at what I do, more creative to kind of basically foster more of the things that I like to do, make more time for them and do less of the stuff I don't like to do, which is kind of, the dream in life. Well, one of the things that and this is so easy, and you are going to hate this live stream so much when you know what my big tip for today is. But this is something I've started doing, and please ignore this crazy color. um, this was not my first choice. It was just on sale. But I think that goes to show you that it doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what instrument you use, but one thing that I have started doing recently is using an actual paper journal. And you can kind of see, I have some business ideas, but anything where I can jog myself a little bit differently, I have really found a lot of utility from actually keeping a journal around. I reached for it, not just because I had this video that I was going to do, but because I've been keeping it around. I've been even keeping it in my purse with about a million other things. But for me, writing physically is a very different act of creation than writing on the computer. Most of the writing that I do, most of the editing that I do is on the computer. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself last time. My name is Mary Cole with Good Story Company and Mary Cole Editorial. Over 10 years in the publishing business, working with thousands of writers. And I keep working on myself so that I can serve better and so that I can be more helpful and do all of these things for my clients and for myself. So, most of the work, I would say about 99% of the writing that I do, the editing that I do, the reading I do is on the screen. I don't do a lot of book reading anymore because it's easier to just read ebooks. And I don't do a lot of longhand free writing anymore. But I have found that a lot of my ideas are different when I am writing in a journal or writing on a piece of paper than when I am writing on the computer. And so, if you are looking to kickstart your creativity, I honestly would love to sort of put you toward this very simple, very analog solution of just keeping a journal around. I keep this one on my nightstand. I keep it wherever I'm kind of working. I work from home as it is. And so this social isolation thing isn't that much of a liability for me because I'm so used to it already. And my best friend out in San Francisco is an HR person and she works with people all day long, and she is finding this tremendously difficult because she's used to, flowing through the building, going checking in on coworkers, seeing people over lunch. And so she's struggling a lot. I work from home as it is, but I set up kind of in different areas of the house. And so I've started taking my notebook, and again, I apologize for the garish color, but it's kind of fun. Why not have a little fun with it? I think at one point I was actually writing in purple ink to go with that, but then I lost like my one purple pen. So now it's just, and you can see I have been finding very, very wonderful outcomes from writing in my journal versus typing something into a list. And the other thing that I love the journal for is that unless you lose the whole journal, that is the that is the one risk. It's not going to be in the cloud for you unless you go through and you digitize it. But I don't know if you're anything like me, but when I have ideas, I send myself an email or I put it in a Google Doc, or I start a Word doc, which is the worst option of all. And then I just have all these like 3 line Word docs or Google Docs flow, call them something strange like marketing idea or, book idea. And then I have like 20 Word docs that are all marketing idea and I have to kind of go through them. Um, so the journal actually forces me to keep everything in one place, with cloud computing, with everything being available digitally. I find that I just create new files or new emails or new reminders or new whatever for everything, and then I end up with this just like ever expanding, roaming collection of documents that I will never look through. One of the pieces of advice that we give in publishing when it comes to, killing your darlings in writing is, if you don't want to cut something from your manuscript, but you absolutely know that you need to put it in a separate document of like your darlings, and maybe one day you'll go back to that document, you'll find that darling, you'll use it again. Well, realistically, many of my clients have received this advice. Many writers I know have heard this advice before. People don't actually go back to that document and find their darling and use it again. So that's kind of what happens to me in all of my ideas and all of the things that I kind of send out, to myself for later, kind of like a future Mary can deal with this problem. Well, by the time future Mary gets to it, it is a huge problem because I have, like I said, 20, 30 Google Docs with like 2 sentences each, or I have a bunch of emails that I've sent to myself where, they stress me out because they're new emails in my inbox, and that's how I manage kind of my to do list. And so instead of creating a fleeting, digital in this notebook. And honestly, it has made such a huge difference because here they all are. And like I said, yes, I can lose this. One of my dogs can eat it, but here they are. And next time I need to write down an idea, or next time I need to find an idea, it's going to be a lot easier, to be honest with you, to look through this notebook. And I've started writing dates. I try to kind of manage my data a little bit in this notebook, but it's going to be so much easier for me to find the idea, revisit the idea, kind of get back together with the idea in this format where it's all in one place than it will be for me to find that idea ever again in my Google Drive, because who knows what I named it at the time. Who knows which of my 5 Google accounts I used to create the document, right? I can't be the only one with that problem. Who knows where it might end up, and who knows if I'll ever cross paths with it again. And so for me, having a tangible idea depository has led to me not only keeping more of my ideas, revisiting and developing more of my ideas. And right now I'm working on a couple different business initiatives, and marketing initiatives. And so the ideas that I'm using this notebook for are probably different from how a writer would use that notebook. But at the same time, whatever track your brain is on, those are the ideas that you're going to be generating. I just don't happen to be in a book track right now, but if you're a writer, you're on a book track, you will use the ideas differently that you write down than ideas that you jot somewhere, digitally, I think, because no matter what, there's a sense of permanence to this solution. There is a sense of, kind of, this is connected to all the other stuff in here, to my ideas. And that leads to me developing my ideas instead of just kind of leaving them alone in the digital wasteland. So this seems like a folder with 100 of them, because the other thing that I do is, ooh, that's a cute journal. And then I just kind of never use it. So scrounge up a journal that you have in your house, maybe, restart a new one, draw a bold line and say, March 2020 is when you're sort of coming back to an old journal, and then try it. That's the thing. Like, I give writing advice for a living. And one of the things that I'm very cognizant of is that my advice, I put a lot of heart and soul into it. But on the receiving end of any advice, this is diet advice, this is financial advice, this is any kind of advice. On the receiving end, it's going to kind of not necessarily be used. A lot of people collect advice, because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're doing something, right? And so I know that every time I say, hey, read your picture book manuscript aloud, like that is the only way to make sure that your voice is consistent, your voice sounds like it's a child's voice, all of that. I know that there's going to be attrition once I give that advice. And some writers will hear that advice and they'll be like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'll do it later, or they kind of do it in their heads or they think about doing it. And so I know that a lot of the writing advice that I give ends up in that category of like, oh, yeah, good tip, and then never used again. Um, the journal change though is one that I'm asking you guys to really try. Like, think about actually doing it, keeping it on your nightstand, keeping it where you work, keeping it where you think, keeping it where your back brain ideas tend to come to you. Unfortunately, mine tend to come to me when I'm in the shower or driving. These are not good places to sort of implement a journal solution, but keep an actual journal on your nightstand or wherever you do kind of your indirect thinking. Maybe take a journal with you when you go for a walk, or we're not supposed to be outside. So, when you walk anxious circles in your basement, keep it nearby and actually write in it. And I really think that, habits take about 30 days to really be fully installed and usable and kind of make any kind of difference. And so I would say having a journal out, seeing one, this one is very hard to miss because it is bright, screaming purple. Having a journal, having it out, looking at it, keeping a pen tucked in there. That's why my journal is floppy, because I have a pen tucked in there so that I know that I have it when I want to use it. And actually writing down some ideas and thinking of this as a way to sort of jumpstart your idea development, your creative development, your back brain, like, oh, I have a problem with this character. If only I could just solve it. Start jotting. And for me, it has really opened up a new way of thinking, a new way of connecting my ideas, and a way of keeping my ideas all in one place, where I can actually use them. So, what I'm doing right now today, actually, with all my social isolation free time, is I am putting together an outline for a marketing class that one of my friends and I we shot in January. And I've been so busy, I haven't done anything about it. And today I'm actually putting it together. And I know that there are a lot of ideas for that class in this journal. So what I'm going to do is I have the outline. It's like a 20-page outline for the class in a Google Doc. What I'm going to do is I'm going to comb through my journal. And yes, I'm going back to the cloud, but this time I'm doing it in kind of a very organized way. I am sort of making the ideas in here talk to and match and sort of enhance the ideas that are in the outline. And hopefully, I will remember some things that I thought about that class, which should be out in a couple months, by the way, Marketing for Writers. And hopefully kind of making a richer, better class because of the things that I have in here. And all I have to do is open the journal, go through it, and kind of copy things over. And I love a lot of those ideas. I'm really excited about those ideas. And I probably never would have come up with those ideas if I hadn't forced myself to think differently about my process, about my creativity. I know that what I was doing with like throwing up 500 Google Docs with like one or two lines each, and every new idea gets a Google Doc that's called something terribly vague like idea. I know that doesn't work for me. And so instead of just kind of contributing to the situation, I am using this sort of spring cleaning, spring outbreak to try something new, make some new habits, and yeah, really shake up my own process so I can figure out what my process should be. If I need to make changes to my process, a better process. I love to learn. And adding a journal to my sort of this live series through the 29th. And let's make best of what we've got to work with now and pick up some nice new habits and create some cool stuff. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Mary Cole with Good Story Company. Bye.